So many times today when you buy a gift and you get a box, they just put an empty box into your bag and don't wrap it for you. So you come home and you have to do that with your own tissue paper. Sometimes they give you tissue paper, that they certainly don't wrap it. So I have a shirt box today with a shirt, some tape, and some tissue paper. So what I'm going to do first is fix this box. You see how the corners are bending in, and I don't like that. I'm a big taper. So I tape all sides, all the corners on the top and the bottom. So that's, we'll call that the bottom. And these boxes today, they make the top and the bottom the same size. You just have to kind of squish it. So what I'm going to do is take this tissue paper. Now the tricky thing today is that they're making the tissue paper so short. They used to make them much longer. But you'll notice it's too long for the box, and I have two pieces here because I want it to wrap around the shirt and close. So what I'm going to do is fold it in the middle like this. You can tell that when I was a teenager I worked at a department store. So it has this middle fold in it until it fits in the box. And you can hold it right over the box. But it really is too short still. Once I put clothing in here, it's not going to meet. So what I'm going to do is pull one of them to the side very carefully. So now I have a couple things exposed. I have two pieces here. So I pulled it out about 3 inches, and I'm going to put my shirt inside and decide which side I want to show. Or the other thing I can do, after folding one side over and putting this side over, I can even fold the edge under, and I can put a little bit of tape on it. And then I'm ready for the box top. And it fits very nicely, and it's nice and squared off instead of folding in because I taped the corners. And now it's ready to wrap. We're ready to wrap the box. I have some roll wrap, I have tape, and I have scissors. Often, I like to get a roll wrap that has a lot of colors in it because then I can choose any of the colors for my ribbon. It's a lot more fun. I also like solid color wrap, like this yellow. I have some in my paper bin in pink and blue and some other solid colors. Or sometimes I just like something fun, like this animal print. And then this is something I got a long time ago, and I got a lot of it. It's black, and it looks like patent leather. But what we're going to use today is this pink. So I'll get rid of these other wraps. Now the tape you use depends on what you like. I have the tape that we would often call magic tape. On some papers it actually disappears, so to speak. This is cello tape, cellophane type tape, and this is a smaller package of the same thing that Scotch makes in the red. This one Scotch makes, I believe, in the green. Or you could also use double-sided tape, which will hide the whole tape thing, and I'll show you how you can do that too. Of course, you need scissors. And the first thing you want to do is figure out how much paper you're going to end up using. And it all depends on the size of your package. Now this roll wrap I have is on the short side. The width is not very wide. And what I'll often do to keep it open is use my tape things and scissors. So what you need to do is first figure out how much paper you're going to end up using up. So what I'm doing here, I'm going to use the box to measure. So I obviously have to cover 4 sides and have at least a little bit left over. So I'm counting, starting on one side of the box. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's hard for you to see, so I'm going to do it from this other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you notice I have just a little bit left, and I'm so lucky. So I don't have to go this direction with the box. If I was short, I would, and then I'd have to cut some off. So what I'm going to do is take a look at the end, and what I want to do, and I'm going to show you it this way, you at least want the paper to come up a little bit past halfway on this end. So if you eyeball it and you realize, okay, I have a certain amount of paper that I need on this end, I'm going to need the same amount on this other end. Use the tape to hold it open, and let's see if I can center it a little bit more so you can see better. I need about this much on this side. Some papers that Hallmark made, I don't know if they still do this, but on the underside, on the plain side, they'll put a lightly colored grid and like a gray, a light gray, so that you can cut straight lines. And that's all you need from your paper. So now we're ready to wrap. And you can play with your ends a little bit. I really like to tape this side, this first piece, so I can get a really tight edge on the other side. Now this paper, since I used the actual edge of the paper, it's nice and straight, I don't have to fold it under. But if it wasn't, and I had cut it, I could fold under this edge here. I'll do it anyway so you can see what I mean. So I'm folding over the edge just a little bit to get a nice, clean, pretty edge. And now I'm ready to tape. Now here's the thing. If you want it prettier, the better thing to do would be to use the double-sided tape. So you could do that, and it's kind of tricky depending on the tape you buy. It can be hard to cut off. So I'm going to put a piece on this side, and usually that's going to be enough. If you wanted, you could put more under here. Still have a little time to do that. And I'm doing this a lot more slowly for the video. Normally I'm a lot quicker. Now what you want to do are these ends, and of course you want to get it nice and crisp. I fold this part down first, and if it's cooperating like this, it's very nice. If it's not cooperating, you can always take a piece of regular tape and tape that down. Then fold in your corners. You do one at a time. And again, if they're not cooperating here, use a little bit of tape, or here I'm going to do this side with regular tape, or take some of your double-sided, did I call it invisible tape before? I don't mean invisible. And you can put your, it is invisible once you put it on, your double-sided, and then your flap would come up like this. And again, if you would cut that edge and it's not quite straight, you can fold it under like this, fold it up, use some of your double-sided, I'm really tempted to use scissors to, because the double-sided isn't cooperating very nicely with the little plastic thing. And fold it up like that. Let's see. Isn't that nice? And it doesn't have any tape. Or, if you're in a rush, now this one ends up being a little bit long, so watch what I'm going to do. I don't like playing with extra paper, so I'm going to take this and cut some off, just to make it easier for me. It still looks the same. So on this side, I won't use the double-sided tape because I want you to see what it looks like when you don't. Fold in a side, fold in the other side, fold over the edge, and I'm going to use one of each to show you This is what we call the magic tape. Sometimes it disappears nicely and sometimes it doesn't. That one actually did. And then I'm using the more cellophane kind of tape and using that one over there. So that's that side, and that's the, what I want to call the invisible tape, the double-sided tape. And now we're ready for a bow.